Hello, this is Mike from Cornerbowl Software again. This is part 4 of how to centrally manage Syslog devices with Cornerbowl Server Manager. In this video, I'm going to show you how to real-time monitor Syslog messages, then receive email notifications when specific entries are received. For example, failed logon attempts. In the previous video, we defined attribute value pairs to extract so we can more easily review, filter, and report on consolidated Syslog messages. Opening a Syslog report with column definitions defined and no filter applied reveals all the extracted attribute value pairs. Using our rel audit log as a sample, this equates to the message level, for example, success or failure, the time the message was generated, the type of message, the user that triggered the message, the executable that triggered the message, and the host and IP the event originated from. If you want to get notified, for example, when a root account logs in or there's a failed logon attempt, you can create a real-time Syslog monitor. Then configure both notification and optionally remediation actions such as sending an email and running a PowerShell script to automatically block an attacking IP on a hardware firewall device. To create a real-time Syslog monitor, from the menu bar, select File, New. Expand Template, then Log Management, then select Log Monitor. From the subtype drop-down, select Syslog. Notice the schedule is set to real-time. If you'd like to limit your real-time monitors to specific days of the week and/or times of the day, create a new real-time schedule that targets those specific days and/or times, then assign it here. Select the Columns tab. Notice there are no columns listed. If I select Load Columns, and I have RFC 5424 enabled, found in the server settings, then we see the default columns along with the RFC columns defined. If you do not load any columns, these columns will be automatically applied to your monitor. To add the columns we defined in our report in the previous video, I'm going to find the report, then open the Properties view. From the Columns tab, I'm going to multi-select all of the columns we defined, then right-click and select Copy. Back in the new Template Properties view, I'm going to clear out all of the columns I just loaded. Then add a placeholder so I can expose the paste command. Once added, right-click, then select Paste. Once pasted, I can delete the placeholder. Now I need to do the same for the regular expressions. Once pasted, we can verify the regular expressions have been attached to the columns by selecting the drop-down at the end of each column. Before we add our filters, I want to first verify the columns are properly applied by viewing the results in either the Consolidated Log Viewer or the Real-Time Viewer. To do that, first I need to assign this monitor to my target device. Once assigned, click Save. To view the column definitions in the Consolidated Log Viewer, from the Explorer view, find the target host. Then expand, expand the syslog monitor we just created, then right-click on the syslog node and select View. Notice the column definitions have been applied to the view and are displaying as we expect. To view the column definitions in the real-time log viewer, right-click on the syslog node, then select Watch. Notice the column definitions have been applied to the view, and once you receive some events, are displaying as we expect. Next, to monitor for a specific event, such as a failed login attempt for the root account, we need to find an instance of the entry we want to get notified about. If the message you want to monitor doesn't exist, find any message that has the same format, then right-click and select Filter Selected Entries. When you apply a filter to the real-time viewer, the filter is only applied to new entries. Previous entries will still reside in the view until you clear the entire view. I want to verify the filter is working correctly, so instead of creating the filter from the real-time viewer, I'm going to create it from the consolidated log viewer. Leave the default values, specify a name, for example, rel failed logon's root. The filter is immediately applied. If I go back into the report, we can see no entries are displayed. This is because the filter always includes the facility and priority. However, I removed both those columns from the view, which is a little unorthodox, but if you recall from the previous video, the sample messages in this tutorial are being forwarded from a text log rather than generated from a hardware device. Since the columns are not present, the software currently includes these criteria with the initialized value of kernel and emergency, which is actually incorrect since our forwarded messages are actually local 7 and info accordingly. So let's delete these two criteria first. Since I'm looking for failed logons, I'm going to remove every other column except my level, type, and target account name. Once I've finished with the filter, I'm going to click Save, then Close. Back in the consolidated viewer, if I refresh the view, we can see the target entries. Once I've finished with the filter, I'm going to go back into the Syslog Monitor Template Properties view and configure the monitor. Select the Monitor tab, then click the plus button. For this video, I'm just going to create a default rule type. For more information on other rule types, see the in-application help. Next, I need to select the filter I just created. Then I need to assign an action, for example, send an email. That's it. Click Save, then close the view. To test my monitor, first I'm going to open up the real-time viewer, then select the filter I want to apply to the viewer. Then I'm going to attempt to log in as root with a bogus password through an external SSH shell. If the messages were being forwarded by syslog-d, which is typically how this would be done, the notifications would be instantaneous. However, since I'm forwarding the entries using the server manager syslog action on the actual RHEL machine, These are going to be received once a minute. One advantage to batching messages is that you can receive notification batches rather than being spammed when an attacker attempts to infiltrate your RHEL machine. Once the failed logon events are processed, we can see the results in the real-time viewer as well as the trigger in the Explorer view. Then finally, we can see the email alert. That concludes part 4 of Centralized Syslog Management.